Welcome to Who Put This On, Season 4, Episode 18, where we watch Making It. Season 1, Episode 1. I'm Chris Lorenz.
Hey, this is James.
Paper Max Shea.
Noah Singer.
Yeah, so this is Emmy Month. Welcome back to Emmy Month.
Woohoo!
This program was nominated for Best Reality Host. Reality Host.
What an Emmy category.
It is, it's an interesting category.
We'll see. There's a lot of competition. We have personal nomination of TJ Lavin for Who Put This On.
Yeah.
So I'm surprised. We got to question this. How is TJ not making it? What's going on?
What about Mark L. Wahlberg?
Oh, no. Oh, my God.
To
Oh.
be clear, none of those people are nominated.
Not nominated. That's very true. Okay.
It's interesting because we've done, so this is our third Emmy nominated show, and they've all been in different categories.
Yep.
We're hitting them all. What was last week's? I didn't get great vibes listening to last week's
Last
pod.
week was in just reality competition program.
You know, there's one thing that TJ Lavin doesn't like, Chris, and that is quitters.
That's
So I have
true.
to call
yeah.
Max out because we nearly quit. He nearly quit on us for Emmy's month. What happened?
You know, I watched last week's show, which was so bad that I've somehow flushed it from my mind.
Yeah.
Nailed It is not a
Oh.
good show.
Yeah, so we're actually continuing with the second show in the It series, It 2, Making It.
All right. Who has the
That was
description
so
for the show?
I also have that.
You have the description for this? Okay.
In this 6-episode competition, 8 of the most talented makers from across the country will take on a variety of handmade projects with the hopes of impressing Amy Poehler, Nick Offerman, and our expert judges Simon Doonan and Dana Isom Johnson. Poehler and Offerman both share a love of and passion for craftsmanship, albeit from different perspectives. Poehler is a self-proclaimed crafting novice who has a long-harbored secret appreciation for those who can imagine and execute beautiful things by hand. Offerman, blah, 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 blah. This goes on forever and ever.
Yeah.
Thank
So I
you
was
for
gonna-
wrapping that
I
one.
was like, I guess I'll let you go.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the show is just a standard competition reality show. There's nothing like super weird about it. Like, so they intro all the people and they have to do a small challenge and then a large challenge.
The faster craft,
The
as one would
quote
have it,
unquote faster craft.
which you get a 3-hour time slot for. We learned.
So they had to do a secret beast. So they had to do a project of their choice representing their inner animal, inner beast. And then they had to do a mastercraft, which was a photo album and a quilt in whatever style you wanted. But that was the requirements.
And
That's
apparently
the general.
there was a time limit, but they never specified
yeah,
how much
that's
time.
true. They did
Just to
not.
be clear
Little-
for the fans
little
listening.
minutia there, but yeah, there's nothing. That's it. That's the show. There's no like.
And they kick somebody off at the end.
They kick somebody off.
It is very much like the glassmaking show, except it's not just glass. It's
Except it's
whatever.
not glass making it all. But everything else, you're right. Like the
yeah.
format wise.
I mean, I was gonna get into that a little bit, but we can get into it now. I think that like the glass blowing show, just like the host was such a nothing burger
Yeah.
to hold it together. Whereas these hosts are really good and really funny.
Yeah.
Holds this whole show together.
They actually have like host cutaways like after the show of them just shooting the shit.
Yeah, it
It's
was
good.
funny. I was legitimately funny.
Yeah.
The only
Are we getting into the minutia yet?
Yeah,
Is this okay?
We're in the
Yeah.
minutia.
So I have a nit here on this host cutaway thing.
Knit it.
The show doesn't really start out, in my opinion,
yeah, I was just
that
gonna say
great.
That. I was gonna say that.
So it starts out with this host cutaway thing where it's just Amy and Nick, and it's like this weird vibe where they're clearly trying to be funny, but it's like scripted funny,
Yeah.
and it just doesn't kind of play out great.
Yeah,
I feel like.
the first scene of this show, not good.
We
We're
were
like, oh
groaning.
no, what are we in for?
Yeah,
And then I think as they get into it and see the crafts and they like be themselves,
Yeah.
Yes.
like Nick Offerman is funny.
Right,
Amy
yeah.
Poehler is funny.
I think once
Like,
they stop
once
trying
they-
to do like the scripted funny and just kind of like just go talk to these people and be funny, it was fun. It was great.
fine.
Yeah, the beginning wasn't crafty enough.
But
Yeesh.
bum.
Ugh. It was the beginning was kind of
All
like
right.
that joke.
So
Noah is laughing for the people that can't hear him.
so they introduced this first challenge,
Yeah.
the Secret Beast Challenge. And what this is also in the beginning, we're not sure if the show was going to be good, and they show like a dog and a cat, or like Nick Offerman says, like, you know, your inner dog or your inner cat or your inner squirrel, you know,
Oh, the
loves squirrel
joke.
loves to gossip, and they show this squirrel, and like just, and they had this strangest sound effect with this squirrel that I was just like,
They
I had to do a
showed like
triple
a
take.
squirrel meme,
Yeah.
like something you would see like
Yeah.
on the internet, and you're just like, why? The show felt very like so well produced and like visually impressive, and then it felt really cheap when they did this like quick cutaway. It felt like a TMZ kind of moment to me.
yeah, the beginning of the show is definitely the weakest point.
Yeah, the beginning of the show, you really understand that Ron Swanson is not a character. Like, it is Nick Offerman being Nick Offerman, and his range of acting seems very narrow to Nick Offerman being Nick Offerman.
Yeah, Nick Offerman has a character. He's a character actor.
I just don't know if it's even a character.
Dude,
It's
yeah, I was gonna say like I've seen
I
him
mean,
do
it's-
stand up too at Sasquatch.
I was- I was there
R.I.P.
for
But
that.
Yeah.
good stand up session. But it's very much like the same, like exactly what you'd expect is Ron Burgundy.
right. Like,
Not
he
Robert
definitely's got some
Shit.
good.
Ron Swanson.
Yeah.
Swanson.
He's got some good comedy chops,
Yeah.
right? But
He's got great timing, but
yeah,
Ron Swanson is Nick Offerman is Ron Swanson. An
exactly.
exaggerated version of him, but not that much.
Right.
Just to be clear, Sasquatch, R.I.P., not Nick Offerman.
No.
No.
Oh yeah,
No.
to be clear, Nick Offerman,
Is-
as far as we know, is very
is-
much alive and doing well. At least we all hope so.
Hope you're doing well, Nick.
Sasquatch is a music festival.
Love you, Nick.
That is now defunct.
That is dead because Live Nation ruined it.
It's fine. All right. So let's get into the Secret Beast Challenge. So like as they go into this challenge, they go to each person's little like desk area and they like describe their project. You get to see kind of the progress they're doing at the time in this like 3-hour brother process. So I wrote down all the projects for this one because I could
Yeah.
do that. We'll get
And,
into
and
that
like while they're
later.
doing that, like Nick and Amy are rolling around. They're kind of talking to these people, and I thought this part of the show was pretty interesting. It was a good flow to it.
Yeah, it's really interesting like how well this was done compared to other shows.
Yeah.
Like the glass blowing show didn't even really do this. They just kind of showed people blowing glass and like some people got like an intro to what they were trying to do. But I don't know what it is about this show where there was like a good work in progress. The host had good meaningful conversations with everyone.
Exactly.
And you got to see just kind of more of the flow and understand what they were trying to do.
I actually can pinpoint this one, or I believe I can, in that the glassblowing show was much more about the technique, and also the requirements of the challenges was too broad. Where then each project they went to, you're just like being thrown left to right.
That's true.
We're here, right? The Secret Beast. It was like, bring out a part of yourself, and we're going to use this to learn about you. And so, going to each person, you understand like the story arc you're about to be told.
Yeah,
I
but
would
that's how
ag-
they
yeah.
always want to start out. They always have some sort of personal project to start out to have this conversation. What was the first challenge on the glass blowing show? I don't remember.
It was recreate a childhood photograph.
Yeah.
It wasn't a child. It was just a photo that represents you.
Oh yeah, that's right.
So it was like trying to get to this, but the host was such a nothing burger, you couldn't even ask that question.
He was really bad.
Well, but I think that's the key
No meat in
here.
that burger.
So like I agree with what Noah's saying, but I think the extra key is that there's a good combination here of Nick and Amy, where
Yeah.
Nick is very much like the crafter, the woodworker, and Amy is like the hey, I'm a chump, right? So please explain to me what that is that you just said because I'd like to learn about it. And so
Yeah.
like she approaches it very positively, which I feel like gives a good degree of range in the
Yeah.
show where
Mhm.
if you know nothing and you're just scared to death by the idea of crafting, you can kind of relate to Amy and you can get like some of that. But then if you're like a bit more into it or more advanced, you can kind of relate to Nick. So they kind of give you what I would say is good range. You give something for kind of everybody.
Yeah.
Are you more a Nick or an Amy?
Definitely more Amy.
Okay.
Not all the way, but like I would say on the range, Amy leaning. I wish I could be more
scale of
Nick-leaning.
Amy to Nick.
Yeah, the scale of Amy and Nick, I'm leaning towards that. I don't know, like where would others like generally put themselves? Are there people, anybody a master crafter, a Nick? No,
I
It's no
used to
Chris?
do woodworking and I loved it.
Okay, so you're Nick leaning at least.
Yeah. At least experience wise, I think.
Are you more Samantha, Carrie?
Oh my. Okay,
I-
moving on.
All right, we're
I'm a
definitely
Jerry
not talking
Seinfeld.
about that.
Wait,
Veto.
okay. Better question. What's your spirit animal? What's your inner beast? Secret beast?
I don't know. Don't look at me.
Mine should be obvious.
Wildcat?
Oh, that's a good one though. That
Oh,
might be my
definitely
new
gotta be
one.
Wildcat.
That might be the new one. It was a wolf, but Wildcat. That's a strong runner right there. I might have to change
Definitely
this up
be a
on the
wild-
spot.
I think you got to do Wildcat.
while we're potting this. I think this might be happening.
Yeah.
Noah?
For reference, the Wildcat. Are you Wildcat strong?
Noah,
I had
what
to
is your
laugh.
spirit beast? Secret beast.
We'll have to take this off the pod.
Okay.
I don't know.
Oh, is it like not safe for work?
What the
not,
hell
not,
could it be?
not safe for recorded audio?
I have a too long-winded answer for this. That's
Oh
not
my
going to work well on the
God.
pod.
Yeah, I definitely don't need a novel on what your secret beast is.
I that's what I said. I'm like, hey, let's just skip over. Let's just keep going.
Mine would be a ghost.
All right, let's go through these people. So we've got a unicorn. Somebody made a unicorn,
Yeah.
like I don't know, what are they? How do they describe
Like an
it?
animal head, like a
an
masthead.
Yeah,
Masthead. Out of
A lot of Etsy, is it?
a lot of references to Etsy.
Well, so yeah, let's talk about it. So Etsy clearly paid a bunch of money to NBC to be like
Name
the
dropped.
craft sponsor, but as part of the money they gave them, they have their head of trends as a judge on the show. So Etsy keeps coming up on, I see this on Etsy a lot.
well, I mean that's her job. So like she's the one that brings it up.
Well, I mean,
And
that's why they're
She-
paying the money
I'm
for
sure
that.
they're just a producer of the show. Like they're paying to produce some of the show. Like they're just
I'm unsure, but they're just giving NBC a bunch of money.
well, whatever. Regardless, they're producers of the show. When you give people a bunch of money, you tend to just be the producer.
Yeah.
I don't understand. I don't understand
It's
what
some
the-
minutia we can get into.
I don't
but,
understand the pushback on that.
Um,
If I gave a bunch of money to a movie studio and I'm like, hey, I want to be a producer, I want to be credited as a producer of this movie.
it
I'm a
well, it
producer
depends
of
if
the-
you're a producer or a sponsor. A sponsor technically shouldn't have creative control, where a producer probably has some creative control.
Why
Unclear
wouldn't
of
Etsy
Etsy's role,
have creative control of the show?
because they don't know how to make TV, and like that's not their competency, right? Their competency is running a marketplace for creators.
All right.
That's
Well,
why.
I don't. Anyway,
Moving on.
we got this unicorn head. It looked okay at the end.
It was good.
It was
Yeah,
fine. It
it's
wasn't
okay.
that creative, but it looked good.
Yeah.
She's a pro crafter
Yeah.
/ social media expert. She is she had like a blog that she makes all her money off of.
Yeah, she seemed
So a
great.
lot of these people are like pro crafters,
Oh, yeah.
which is a weird thing to be.
So that kind of makes me think about her thing that she made, which is you look at it and you're like, oh, that's kind of cool. And I would maybe be like, how can I make that? And I bet that's what her blog would teach you. Right.
Something
so like
like
I could,
that,
I could like, I'm assuming here, but like I could see how she is successful in that way, which is like, oh, that's a thing, but it's not so crazy that I can never imagine building it.
Yeah.
But it's like, oh, I bet, if I spent some time learning it and practicing it, some maybe how-to videos or whatever's on her blog, I bet that is like,
Yeah.
I could see that.
As compared to we did Savage Builds a little bit ago, and that was like there's no conceptual way to build anything that he's building.
Right. It's like you got a
On the,
welder and
like,
like all this
You
crazy
need to,
stuff.
They got a titanium 3D printer. Like this just isn't happening. So like this is just like on separate level of like pro, but not quite within your grasp of
Yeah.
sorts. Kind of craftsmanship.
It's not going to blow the budget.
No.
Actually, that's an interesting point. I think with most like everything they built, like nothing seemed very expensive to make.
Everything you could legitimately make if you had a shop
Right.
in
It
Desire.
was like some wood and some pieces of stuff. I don't know.
Yeah,
Fabric. They had felts and
well,
things.
we got
Oh, okay,
well,
we'll
the
get there.
next one. Somebody made a pig using felt,
Yeah.
Right.
where they had like he had like a representation of himself on the pig. He had like an earring and like a jersey. This was the guy that did high school football theme was this episode. So he did this one was
In
like
a
a pig.
self-proclaimed fat townie quote.
Yeah.
that was great.
What is
So-
a fat town?
I don't know. They showed a picture of him as a kid, and I
But
guess
what
he
do
was
you
on the
mean?
bigger
What is a
side.
fat townie? It's a townie who is chubby.
Oh, okay.
All right. No, we don't need anyone to define that. The next, there were 2 bees. One, somebody used like a lot of paper craft to make like a flower with bees and had some cardboard in there. That was really good. I really
It
liked
looked
that one.
incredible.
The cardboard
Excellent.
design was really nice. So it was like this probably like 1 inch wide cardboard kind of rolled in like a tight
Corrugated.
spiral.
Corrugated paper.
Yeah, there you go.
Which,
I think that
Whatever.
should have won.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. It was just like a really interesting, and like what the judges really liked about it was like, oh, you can see the material and like how you could like make it into something.
Yeah.
Which again think is like very much in that approachable kind of category. Like, oh, I've got some cardboard. I could maybe do that.
yeah. Then we've got the other bee, which was like, I don't even know what that was. I think that should have like bombed.
It
yeah,
was
yeah, not good.
Abstract 3D art.
That was weird.
Yeah.
I can't describe it in any way.
It wasn't great.
I think it would be cool as just like an abstract art piece. Saying it's a bee was just really out of tune of the show.
Yep.
The next one was like an owl by the Hodgepodge quote unquote crafter. And it was just like kind of you have a junk drawer and they dumped it out and you're like, oh, let's make something out of this, and they made an owl.
I'm gonna be honest. This looks like a 4th grader could have done it.
Ooh, ouch.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
rough.
a skilled 4th grader, but yeah, not.
I mean,
far.
it is clear like, hey, you get together with your grandkids and you like to do some crafting. This is what you would make.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like on the show. Oftentimes when people were building, they would put little markers on the TV of the different tools they were using or items they were using for building the owl. They literally had a name said doodads, pointing to some of the things she was using. Doodads.
So as soon as I saw this one, I'm like, she's out. She's the first one off the show. Which spoiler alert, she is. She's off. We'll get into her. Other
She's out of
one.
her league.
Yeah, by far. She's not a pro crafter.
No, like
She
she
is
seems really
a-
good at what she can do, but like she's not a professional.
She's like, if maybe one of us showed up on the show and we're like, oh crap. Let's
give her more credit.
No,
than
Yeah,
that.
she's
It was-
probably
yeah.
better than we are. Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll give you that.
But this was, I would just say, it still felt in the category of like home crafts
yes.
versus like something you like see in a store and like, oh, I would pay money, or you know what I mean? It's just that
Well,
kind of
there's, like,
separation.
Yeah.
I don't think her stuff could be on Etsy. Like, no one's buying that stuff.
No
on
one's
Etsy.
buying
getting that
that.
Etsy plug.
Brought to you by Etsy.
But what was interesting about her is she was really focused on like the memories aspect of it, and so she had like 8 kids and 15 grandkids or something.
yeah.
And so like
Yeah.
that's her shtick, is that she gets together with all her kids and the grandkids and like crafting and all that. So like that was kind of an interesting, like nice little backstory.
Yeah.
I thought. I don't know. It was
Definitely,
nice.
like, she had a good backstory. They
Yeah.
they dug into a little bit. She had a good personality, just not good enough for this.
Right.
Yeah.
Then we've got a bunny made out of paper mache.
Wink,
And that
wink.
was really good.
Yeah.
It was like they
It was
even
good
ra-
size too. Like it was probably actual rabbit size or bigger.
It looked like a rabbit. They said it felt like a rabbit. So like,
They were particularly impressed with the rabbit's feet.
Yeah.
They kept commenting that it feels like a rabbit's foot, and they were very specific on that.
Yeah.
Did she just get some
yeah.
rabbit's feet, or
Yeah, the rabbit was well executed, but it was just very boring. Compared to the other projects, it was like you're like, cool, it's a rabbit, done well.
Yeah.
All right.
I mean,
It was fun.
it was fine.
there weren't any doodads on it?
No doodads.
Like as an art piece, you're right. But like as a, I stuffed a rabbit, put it in the corner. Like that was pretty good.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
But that's an interesting point there, right? Like the show isn't like master artist; it's master crafter.
That's true. But like the next project is definitely more about the art than it is about the craftsmanship.
What's the next project?
Well, we're not there. We got 2 more yet.
Oh.
We have the winner. We got.
Oh,
When do
you meant
know?
the
I thought
next-
we were.
You
going-
mean the next challenge?
Yeah.
Oh.
The next
Yeah.
project, or I guess the next. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
fair. Somebody did a shadow puppet, kind of like they had a head, and inside the head was like a shadow puppet thing that you could actually like shake. It would show like there was an elephant.
Yeah,
There was a couple of
Yeah, the
different
couple-
things.
There's a couple things.
The shadow box was amazing.
Yes.
It was very creative, very well done. Like it won this challenge, which when you win, you get some sort of badge
A patch.
patch.
An iron-on patch.
I liked it. I thought that was kind of unique and cool.
Yeah.
And kind of fits the tone of the show 100%.
Yeah.
yeah.
It's fun.
And it seems like over time it could be kind of cool, like see how many patches people get.
Yeah. I don't think there's going to be enough patches for that to really be a thing, but I would love like
Right. It's like, ooh, here's so and so. They got 3 patches this season. You're like,
Yeah.
ooh, what are they making?
If they gave out more patches, I think that it would work. Then the last one was a turtle shell, which is like, I thought this was the worst one. Like, you just made a turtle shell. There's not even a turtle piece. There's just like, it's just like, just the shell made out of a solid piece of wood, which, albeit, is impressive. Like, I'm
it
not
looks
saying it's
cool to me. I don't know.
but like, I don't know. Compared to all the other ones,
There was a picture they showed us of like the final tortoise shell lodged in a piece of wood or something. They showed like a prototype drawing of that. Do you remember that?
no.
That looks cool to me. Like it looked like the tortoise shell would have been carved out of a stump. That would have been impressive.
yeah.
I like Stumpy. Because then you call him Stumpy.
Uh,
Stumpy the turtle.
What?
No, you were saying the carve a turtle shell out of the stump, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Stumpy the tortoise shell.
Yeah.
Turtle shell.
Okay.
sure.
All right, guys.
Man,
Let's
jokes
roll
are
it back to
bombing.
the,
I don't know. Nothing is working tonight. It's a rough crowd.
Definitely not. So, before we get into the next and final challenge, I think we should talk about some of the cutaways with Nick and Amy. Like, they have this. The first cutaway was a pun off, which was really funny.
It was very good.
like
it didn't cut it.
Like, I can't imagine, like, let me cut away to this pun off and not me roll my eyes because it's just going to be awful. But it was so good.
What do you think would make it work better?
Oh.
I'm terrible at puns. Don't look at me. You and Max could have a
Man.
pun off.
Where's
I
Annabeth?
can't.
Where's Annabeth tonight?
I
She's
can't.
definitely the best punner.
I
Maybe her
am-
and Noah are top
I
punners.
am the worst at puns.
Noah,
I
if we
can't.
get Annabeth to agree, will you do a pun pot off?
I'll see if we can snap it together.
All right. The next challenge, they gave Nick Offerman. They blindfolded him and made him smell wood to see if he could
Identify
distinguish the between different wood. It was like, and he
So-
does.
So, but hang on. Before we get into that, I
Yeah.
gotta ask, quick TO, has it? So I made the comment during the show that this is exactly the bit from Tool Time, which is the show within the show of Home
Yeah.
Improvement
Yeah.
by Tim Allen back in like what the 80s or 90s.
You're
I don't know.
aging yourself.
I'm definitely
sure.
aging myself, but I got news for you. It didn't work out so well for Al Bundy in the situation, and Nick Offerman was really bringing an Al Bundy vibe.
That's true, but this is reality. This is not a show within a show.
It's true.
I really want to go to YouTube and watch the that episode of Tool Time.
Oh yeah, there's a fun surprise at the end.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Nick gets what, 2 out of 3? Well, we saw 2 out of. we
No,
saw
he got 3 out of 4.
3 out of 4. I
Yeah.
always. Yeah, he couldn't get one of them, and he was like mahogany. That's Spanish for no smell, which was great.
That was
great.
excellent.
Yeah.
That was such a good joke. Like, I can't imagine somebody wrote that joke for him.
I
Like-
think that was all him.
Yeah. So the like cutaways were so good.
Yep.
So back to so they're giving this Mastercraft challenge with some sort of time limit. Not sure how long it
Unspecified.
is.
Yeah.
I can't. I
Unknown.
like they're filming this. It all seems like daylight. There all seems like during the
Yeah,
day.
like actually, I'm trying to think back. I definitely agree. It felt like daylight, but then I don't know that like were they just in like a big warehouse room?
Well, there's some scenes where some people are outside doing woodwork.
Yeah,
That was during the day.
Hmm.
But in the studio, you're right. I mean, the bright lights, it was kind of made it look like it was outside, but probably not outside. So who knows? I don't know if they don't film the show in like a week. 6 episodes, 6 days seems
Oh, that's
logical.
so much crap. Like every day you're cranking out 2 crap. Dude, that's exhausting.
Yeah.
It is exhausting.
I'm
Like,
sure
that's
being-
a lot of creativity.
Being on
in a
those
short.
lights, I'm sure it's exhausting. I don't know. I don't know the production schedule of these things.
But they're definitely maximizing having the crew in one place to wrap up the season.
yeah, I mean, like, you're not getting Nick Offerman and Amy Poehler for more than 2 weeks. So, like, potentially 2 weeks.
Sure.
So,
Yeah.
Anyway, so they have to do a photo album and a quilt. So, and there's some sort of, the overall theme was family heirloom challenge, which is also kind of weird. And I couldn't really write down what people did because they were very like,
It was very varied.
it was so varied that like it would be really hard to describe anyway.
But I mean, like they do stay true to sort of their trade, like area of expertise, which is like you got sort of the felt workers and you've got the woodworkers. So like they generally make things out of felt and wood or whatever their expertise was.
Yeah. So like people that did woodworking made like wood quilts and like made some sort of wood.
Interesting patterns and stuff that like
Yeah.
a lot of like wall hanging stuff. I feel like in this
Yeah.
category.
Most of the quilts were wall hanging.
Yeah.
So
but
like
also, I mean, if you make a quilt out of wood, how else are you going to do it?
well somebody made like a Japanese style
Oh yeah,
like woodworking thing that was like supposed to be a draped over quilt. So like there was like 2 sides with like an arch. So like I don't know. And that looked really cool.
It looked really intricate. Like
Yeah.
that was kind of my take when there was
Yeah.
a lot of like small detailed woodworking.
that was incredible. I
yeah.
Yeah.
Which it
Yeah.
feels like that's right up the Japanese kind of alley, right? Of like
Yeah.
very detail and like precision.
And they
kind
talked
of
to that
stuff.
guy and they're like, have you done this before? And he's like, no. And it looked so good. I was like, that's amazing.
Well,
Yeah.
you
Nick
thought it was
Off-
like a rite of passage, right?
Yeah.
And then and then Nick lands.
Nick Offerman is like, wow, well, I think it's a great idea to do it for your first time on
Yeah.
national television.
just straight faced right to him, and he's like,
Yeah.
ooh.
The
Great
like-
ringer.
Like the timing and the facial expressions on Nick Offerman there are just so good.
I think this is where the show like hits its stride.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Like it took a little bit like a sprinter to get kind of into their pace,
yeah.
and then this is like they're now in stride.
I have one caveat for this piece, which, I guess we have to get into this minutia of the judges. So the judges come in at the end of the first challenge, which then they're given some instruction on what they were supposed to do. So that was kind of
Mhm.
weird. But like in the second challenge, or the first challenge, Nick and Amy are the only ones going around asking questions. And the second challenge, Nick, Amy, and the 2 judges, and they're just nowhere near as good.
The other,
Like
I
I'm
agree.
like, get
Yeah.
the freak out of this. Like, I don't want you involved in this at all. Just judge it later.
Yeah.
Like I'm fine with
Yeah.
you judging it.
If
but
they
like,
only came in at the very end and gave like their opinion about shit, okay, sure.
yeah,
But they're not good as like the host people. I agree.
they're not nearly as good as like just Nick and Amy walking around.
Yeah.
So
And
like,
they were fine. Like I mean, compared to other judges, like
oh,
I think pretty good.
100%. I think they are better, but they're not on that. They're not even close to the level of Nick and Amy.
yeah.
That's a hard.
I'm not saying
that's the thing, though.
Yeah.
It's like we're
Yeah.
talking about split like the best hosts I think we've ever seen.
Right? No, they're
So like
yeah.
I understand, but you've got the best hosts. Like
Yo, we
Just
haven't
like-
knocked TJ
just
off the
like-
mantle yet. Stop jumping. We haven't got there.
Oh man, the TJ Love Fest
But
here
like-
is too strong.
but like you're not taking Tom Brady and putting other quarterbacks with Tom Brady. Like,
100% you
you
are.
just got
Yeah.
like Tom Brady. Like,
yeah.
You're asking the wrong guy here, but
A
yeah.
little bit of a corner tip. So this is not shot in a studio. It is shot on a hillside in Malibu.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, that is
Oh man,
all the
so Nick
details.
and
we
Amy
get.
might be hanging out for like a month in Malibu though.
Well,
but
beach
probably
action, little
Malibu,
chilling.
California. You know.
yeah, I mean
Yeah,
they might
yeah.
be just living at home.
Or
Yeah.
get
Yeah.
that free
Probably.
house in Malibu for
Yeah,
a
they're
week.
probably living at home.
They probably have nice places.
Yeah.
What am I thinking?
yeah, sure
Yeah.
their house is pretty nice.
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
They just got that helicopter from their house to Malibu. Workout.
Uber chopper.
Yeah. So I guess we've got some minutia that we need to get into around the second challenge.
New shit.
We've got this guy that did the football pig in the first one.
Yep.
He does a football focused like photo album wall hanging thing and like an
yeah,
8-bit quilt of who, James?
the
You-
Boz.
What can you
Who
explain what
is-
this is about? I didn't understand. Like
So
so the
I
Boz is a
have the
football
internet corner on
player.
it. So the Boz, yeah. So I can just read a quick thing on the Boz. I think it'll make sense. But that's basically who this guy does. So Brian Keith Bosworth, also known as the Boz, that's B-O-Z, is an American actor and former professional football player who played linebacker for the Seattle Seahawks in the NFL. He's most likely he was up for a Heisman Trophy finalist. Played at Oklahoma, I think. Yeah, Oklahoma, and so he was really popular at that time.
What
Longer
time? What
story.
time?
This
That-
was
This is I'm just like what how
The
is
80s.
this 8-bit?
yeah. This is late 80s. Late
Before you
80s.
get into this guy specifically,
yeah.
what is this 8-bit version of this guy doing anywhere? Is he have a version of a game for that was just him?
So
Or is this like his favorite football player and he's like, let me
latter.
make an 8-bit version of this guy
Right.
for
No,
some
it's-
reason?
let me
what you just
finish this one
described.
paragraph here because I think it'll sum it up for you.
Okay.
Which is Bosworth played college football for the Oklahoma Sooners and was a 2-time consensus All-American. He gained fame and notoriety through his flamboyant personality, controversial comments about the NCAA, and radical haircuts. The Boz was less successful in the NFL due to injuries that forced him to retire after only 3 seasons. So, in a nutshell, Boz was writing this in like the late 80s. Like huge like popularity train through college football, made a bunch of comments about the NCAA, gets like an $11 million a year contract in Seattle Seahawks, and then just gets ruined with injuries immediately and like kind of never pans out.
But
And had this like very like flamboyant look about him and style.
so this
so
is
he
just his
yeah.
favorite NFL player.
I think
his
again
favorite-
this is just kind of an age thing, right? So like this guy when he was watching college ball and stuff was like he was the shit. Right,
Okay.
like he was the Heisman runner, like all these kind of things. He didn't win a Heisman to be clear, but he was nominated.
Yeah.
So like
it
you
is
know,
not unusual for someone growing up then to be like, oh, this guy's really cool.
Okay. I mean, I get that.
yeah.
I was just like,
And this guy's like known for like this very distinct haircut and stuff. So like that photo that he did is a pretty like iconic shot of him.
Yeah.
So like it all kind of made sense, but I agree it's very
I was
niche
just like,
into like that.
I was like,
specific
is there a
point in time.
football on the NES that I was not aware of that's like the Boz?
Yeah, I,
football?
like there probably
Like,
was.
I
Yeah.
was just like, is that a thing? I don't, because like the 8-bit style is a thing, but like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
was
if like
just-
there was a NCAA like whatever from 1988 or whatever it was, like that seems
He-
about
he would've been
that
in it.
era.
so yeah. After that, we've got. I guess we'll go over the overall loser here. Let's talk about
The grandma?
the grandma.
Mm.
It's like Gemma.
Gemma.
She like used
Gemma.
a legit heirloom, and she tried to make like quilted kind of circles, like a wall hang, 16 of them, so it would like 4x4. And I don't remember what her photo album was, but that was supposed to be her quilt, and she didn't finish her wall hang. Like that's the only
was
real
a bummer.
bad thing I can really say about it. Like it was fine.
Yeah, I don't think it was like
I
that
don't-
far off. That it was just kind of.
Nah,
I
but
don't
like
know.
even like the finishings on each of the pieces of the quilt were not very refined.
That's fair.
Again, like not to bash the grandma, just like she's playing home crafts and going up against professional art.
The bar is very high.
Yeah.
Like the like everybody in this like situation is like very good at what they're doing.
Yeah, like I would actually just shit on the producers for this one for putting this person in that position.
I think she had a really good personality, which is probably what got her on the show to begin
She
with.
definitely does.
And I like if you take a step back, every single one of these projects was done really well. I think that the grandma's like wasn't finished, easy to kick that person off. I don't know exactly if she had the time to finish it. It would have been, but I don't know.
Yeah,
I definitely question the
obviously-
woodworking like hypnotic piece. Like that one I wasn't in love with. Nor did the judges seem to be super in love with it.
There was another one where like somebody made a wood like piece of art just using wood, didn't paint it, just kind of used the Nick Offerman kind of like simplistic style, and the judges hated it.
Like
They
it's
like
wood.
they
It is a
went to
gift.
them. They were like in the interview process. They were like, "Hey, you're gonna paint that?" And he's like, "No." And then the judges were like, "You didn't paint it." And I was like, "I hope this. If there's one thing to know when you're going on these shows is if the judges come to you and then they give you a comment, you have to use that comment."
It's like in a cooking show and we're like, "Ooh, that's a bit spicy." You're like, "Okay, let me add a little milk to that or whatever," right?
Yeah.
Like,
So it's kind of concerning that guy didn't take that comment. So
I
he's
think-
on the chopping block.
I think he could have gotten away with it if he used like a really dark wood on a really light wood, like a spruce on a pine or a birch or something.
Yeah, I agree that it was like that can work, but he didn't do a super
No.
great job at it.
No, he didn't.
He was trying to imitate a quilt, so it had like different like blocks of wood with like separations between them, and it just looks like 16 blocks of wood that like kind of had some like it just made his art not great.
I think he just didn't play to the audience. Clearly, the guy knows what he's doing. Like, he's not making flippant choices and being like, "Oh yeah, that could have been so much radically better." It's that these judges do not seem to connect well with anything abstract. It needs to be very obvious on what you're trying to get completed, and they're much more connected. Like, think of the things that won
Well,
in
I
both
mean,
rounds. There
Mhm.
ain't no guessing.
if we talk about the person that won this round, so it was like a heart-shaped like block quilt with like different parts of this like mother's life,
Mhm.
like with the kids, and like it was done really well. You could hang it up on like almost any wall, and I think it would
Yeah.
have looked really well. But I don't know how abstract that was. Like
It was not
how-
abstract
well,
at all. It was.
It wasn't just like I don't know.
It's not abstract at all. It literally had words on it. It told you what to think. It was a shape of a heart. Like, it was creative in its exploration of the ideas, but it was not abstract to have misinterpretation about the meaning.
That's fair. I could see that. It was done well. I think it looked really good. But you're right. It wasn't like the best art piece, I don't think. Like if you're looking at like the art or craft, like and without seeing it in person or seeing
Yeah.
up close, like really what they did, like it's hard to tell the craftsmanship between all of these projects. And like it's hard to compare like woodworking versus like paper craft versus felt work. Like I don't know which one's harder, which one's easier. Just like so, I can't really judge on that fact, and I don't think they really are either.
Super hard. Although, I'm going to jump to another project. The guy that did the corrugated paper bees and flowers, his picture book was one of the most creative things I've seen in a long time, where he would take a picture of someone and then also take a picture of the sky
Oh yeah.
and then create kind of a single page book out of it, where you see the picture of the person and then the other side of the book has a picture of the sky, so you can see how it was like at the point in time when the picture was taken. If you've done right, it just creates this really neat experience of looking at a photo.
Yeah, it was really cool.
I was a little confused because he was like this black and white photo of this guy, and then the sky was just like really nice photo of like a sunset kind of sky, and I was like, those two juxtaposed together just doesn't work in any respect. So it's an interesting idea. I'm not sure it really like pays off. Like I'd rather just have the photo with the person with the sky in the background. That I mean, simplistic yet makes sense. So like it's an interesting idea on an abstract conceptual level, I guess. But
I feel like that was a great Nick Offerman cut right there. That was great.
yeah, not to disparage your opinion at all. It was interesting, and I think if it was on
I
a
do not
coffee
feel
table,
disparaged.
It was
Like,
on
this
coffee
cocktail's
table.
really interesting, but if it was just whiskey, it'd be a lot better.
Can't be the classics, James. Can't be the classics.
And so the guy that built the turtle in the first round, he built a very intricate.
Yeah, we talked about this.
Yep.
We did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where were you?
I promise.
Were you on the
He was
internet
in the corner.
You in the
I
internet
might have
corner?
been in the internet corner
I think
or
he was in the
creating
dark sector of
Rob's-
the internet corner.
Rob's Snapchat in lieu of his absence.
Yeah, a little minutia there.
I think that's it.
And then any other projects? There was like a really somber moment with one of the like people,
Oh,
which
yeah.
The photo book guy.
was it. Yeah, it was the photo book guy where he said that his parents disowned him for being gay, and it was like
Not just that.
yeah, it was the like saddest thing I've ever heard. Where he like comes out and says that his parents sent him flowers.
No. I
I don't know what it was, like what the exact thing was. But essentially,
a funeral wreath
Yeah,
yeah,
a black wreath to
Yeah.
his office.
to his work.
That's it.
ooh. Anyways,
In memory of our dead
Yeah.
son.
yeah, it's
That's
a,
fun.
Yes.
Super fucked up.
so they more than cut him off. It was over. It was
Yeah.
big time.
I can't.
So this guy like kind of like let it all out though. Like he's like, whew. He's like got
I mean,
emotional there, you
he's
know?
accepted this. I think.
Yeah.
I think this has been some time since then, but it is definitely like out of tone for this whole show. Like we're just like, wait, oh, all right, we got to move on. We can't dwell on that one.
I'm glad they did it.
Sure,
no,
yeah.
I'm like they aired it. Like they
Yeah.
clearly could have cut that. So like,
Yeah.
it's definitely something to consider every once in a while. Any other minutia we want to get into? Ratings? We want ratings here?
Yeah.
What do you got for me, Max?
I'm going to say middle third, top of the middle. Has room to grow. Beginning was poor. It was entertaining. I was smiling by the end of it.
All right, James, what do you got for us?
So this one's tricky in that I do think it took a little bit to get into stride, but once it did, I thought it was definitely in the top third. So I think I'll go bottom of the top. So top overall. But like the rough is definitely a little bit to get going, but I think as long as they continue to kind of stay in that stride, as I said, I think like it's a pretty good show. I would definitely watch another episode. It's a very pretty positive, lighthearted, like kind of good, wholesome watch. I feel like you could watch this with your whole family, friends. It kind of it has a lot of range, which I like. And I think that's difficult to do. And I gotta say, as rough as the hosts were initially, like they really hit home. Like it's clear, especially when there's less good hosts that had kind of come into the picture that are still good, but like clearly not at a different level. So yeah, the hosts are definitely up there. It's clear why they're Emmy nominated. We'll see if they pull it out and can dethrone TJ from the who put this on. Maybe we should do that one in the finale with the full crew.
Oh yeah,
Have a
But
debate.
the
of our
people
own.
actually have to watch the show though.
They definitely do, as we've learned, or else there will be 18 addendums.
We gotta have the addendum to the addendum.
So, yeah.
No, what do you got for us?
Yeah, very similar spot to James. I think they started the show against the grain, but then they saw it. No, I can't do
He was
it.
trying so hard.
I was trying to give a straight face. They saw through it. They stitched it together, and they hit they
Hey,
hit the nail on the head by the
Hey.
end of it.
hey, Noah, why don't you glue your mouth shut?
So what bucket did you leave?
So, bottom of the top. Yeah. I think the show's a lot of potential. It has fast pace to it. Obviously, the hosts are impeccable. Can't wait to see where it goes.
Yeah, I have to agree with you guys. I think it's top third. I think that after watching Blown Away, I kind of thought that like any competition reality shows are just kind of blah and passe, and like especially ones where it's like art oriented, we're just kind of like I watched like an episode of like a painting thing, and it was just painting other people, and it was just like boring because again, it's just hard to watch people do art, but I think the hosts just keep this whole show together.
Yeah.
The production is so good. The tone is great. just after the first 5 minutes of the show, everything about it is great. I think that I would
I don't
definitely.
think we mentioned the music either. The music was really well done. Like, I felt like it was just kind of background and things, but like I thought it was
didn't even
done.
notice
I didn't even
music.
notice
No,
I
but I
didn't
think that was
notice.
key. Like, it was subtle. It didn't distract you. It wasn't like alarming, but it kind of just flowed well. I thought.
Oh man, I feel like I gotta go rewatch this in like in like the reverse order. I feel like it's like some Pink Floyd take. It's like, oh, but listen to it now this way.
All right, it's my rating term. Okay.
Tell us how you felt about it.
How did it make you feel, Chris?
Oh man. Now I lost my train of thought. Like I think that the show, I mean, could drop a bucket if the hosts like drop the ball a little bit. I think you front load this with some of their best interludes, probably. So, you know, because they were really good. And I think that if they keep that like up, they keep the positivity up, remove a little of the you don't need that much judge time. But overall, top third. And that's it. I guess we can do minor update here. We don't have a whole lot of time.
Is it
but
time for a quick instant hotel discussion?
No, I
Damn
haven't
it.
watched season 2 yet. Dude.
Wait, a
Ugh.
quick. Oh, we're okay. You gotta watch
we're
it.
updates.
Mindhunter season 2 is excellent. Mindhunter season 1 was great. So if you haven't got on that train yet, buy a ticket, get on that train, sit on the couch, get on the show.
I gotta buy a
Get on
ticket?
the Netflix train.
Yeah, Netflix train.
I've been catching up with Succession season 2. Really good show. Highly
Yeah.
recommend it.
Yeah. Oh, on that point, yeah, obviously, Succession, Ballers, new season's great. The Righteous Brothers, very good. It's with John Goodman, the guy from Down and Out. I can't get it. Danny McBride.
What's it on?
And
It's on
Workaholic guy.
HBO.
Yeah.
Okay.
HBO.
Adam
Devine. Yeah.
Oh, I like that guy.
Divine.
Yeah.
I like the show.
Very good show.
It's not really as funny as I was hoping it would be, but it is what it is.
I think it's great.
And James, you want to talk a little bit about your favorite TJ Lavin?
TJ.
Some
Oh
TJ,
man,
some TJ.
a lot of TJ recently. I think the Are You the One finale finished. A bunch of us from the pod have watched that. We'll have
Wait,
an
he
update.
hosts
at some point
Are You the
there.
One?
Yeah. There's
No, that's a different
Terrence
TJ. Terrence J.
God.
But TJ Lavin is back in the challenge. War of the Worlds 2 is really going at,
I'm not a fan of this whole UK versus US.
I love it. It's fucking great.
I
It's
don't
so
like it.
good.
I don't like it.
It's so good. The drama is building. CT's on Team UK for some reason. It's bonkers and it's wonderful. There's a real war theme going. It's great. Challenges are hard. Teams have been caught cheating. There are scandals. There are love interests. It's all happening on MTV's The Challenge.
Sunday at 10 p.m.
Wednesdays on MTV with our Emmy-nominated TJ Lavin.
He's not Emmy nominated.
not.
He
I
is
mean,
now when the
he's
Emmys
on-
get this
He's on
podcast.
the Who Put This On nominated best
Yeah,
host.
He's Who Put This On one-time winner.
I really
for
want to
best
see if
host.
any other podcasts talk about TJ Lavin. And if they do,
Oh, they do.
if anywhere near the extreme that this podcast does,
I got you.
There's a lot of challenge podcasts out there.
Oh,
You can
God,
probably
that's
listen
so
to some of them. This almost turned into one at some point.
Yeah.
I would be so upset if it did.
Yeah, I like this 90-minute episode format for MTV.
It's working.
because it gets them what they want and gets me what I want. I want a challenge and an elimination in the same episode. I could do with less drama, but like that's what they think everyone wants, what you guys want.
You got to get
probably.
some of that drama.
So like
MTV knows drama.
It gives them time to breathe with that kind of stuff. It lets
Yeah.
them like input the drama and actually have a full like episode and not just be trying to play with get more drama and less competition in. Like that really bothers me. So like I'm happy that we can find a ground here that we can stand on together.
Right.
What do you got, Max?
No spoilers, but episode 3 has some of the craziest politics in the show I've ever seen.
Yeah. The
It's great.
the ending of episode 3 was good.
Yes.
A lot of
All
good
right.
stuff.
Well, you can find us on Twitter at Whobuthasong. You can find us on Facebook.com/Whobuthasong. You can email us questions and suggestions at whobuthasong@gmail.com. We'll see you guys next time. Welcome to the mic test. We testing the mics.